generally speaking, everything is moving fast. Also, IPOs are moving fast, and building products is moving fast. So it's a very exciting time to be in, and especially for people who are passionate about building great products.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. What does it mean to really be customer obsessed? Well, we're gonna find out. Meet Sharel Omer, the CEO and co-founder of Affogata.com. Sharel is an Israeli entrepreneur whose passion for personal connections and building relationships has made him dedicated to bringing the consumer voice's power to brands and organizations. He is the CEO and co-founder of Affogata, a leading consumer intelligence platform that enables brands to be truly customer-obsessed by bringing their customers' voice to the right teams in the organization. Affogata's portfolio of clients include names like Wix.com, Fiverr, Lemonade, eToro, MyHeritage, Plarium, and more. Sharel Omer, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you for joining me. Affogata.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
It's going to be a really fun 20 minutes talking about company culture, talking about technological evolution and innovation and revolution, customer obsession, customer-driven results, and anything in between. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sharel, take me back throughout your journey and tell me a little bit about, how what your part in the ecosystem and how you see yourself, leading up to Affogata.
Yes, so I've been in the high-tech industry for about 20 years or so, mostly in product-related areas. And in the past 10 years, I've been entrepreneurs of several startups. Most of them, I was the CEO and one of the co-founders, and all of them are focused on product. So I'm very passionate about products and how to create products and what makes product unique and stand out in the crowd. What we've seen is basically that it's very hard to build products and get the feedbacks from customer as in real time as possible, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to build a product that is engaging, that is fun, that is growing and retained, and that's a big challenge. So that's my passion for the past 20 years. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Amazing. Okay, so we were talking about the product. Tell me a little bit more about this domain that we're in and this idea of customer responses and real-time feedback loop when it comes to this role of product development.
Yes. So the world is on a shift towards everything being online, everything is being real-time. Nowadays, products need to sell themselves. It doesn't matter what you share in marketing or in publication. It's what people talk about your product that makes it unique and stand out of the crowd. Also, there's a lot of competition now. It's relatively easy to release products. So we're talking about a real problem in terms of how to make a product unique, how to make a product stand out of the crowd, and how to understand if the product is good or not. Now, everyone is doing a lot of changes in products. New features are being developed every day. New ecosystems are being built. There are more and more communities. So every company needs to be proactive and needs to really find and search and understand the voice of customer. Now, understanding voice of customer is not trivial, because sometimes customers don't talk to you, they talk at you. If you look at the open web, if you look at the review sites, etc. And if they talk to you, it's usually support and things that are not working, etc. So nowadays, companies need to be product-led, as they say, and brands need to be more and more customer-obsessed in order to win the market. And this made us think about Affogata and what we are doing right now, because we try to solve a problem that is really out there. How to build better products, and our organization can be customer-obsessed.
Right, and so you're starting with this idea, you're starting with this deep internal understanding. When you think about approaching this now from a startup to tackle this problem for other companies, what are some of the questions that you're concerning yourself with? Because essentially you are, it's almost like a paradox, right? You're building a product to help other companies get feedback on building product.
Yeah, 100%. So it's always good to eat your own dog food, if you will. And Affogata is a product that helps companies build product and also help us to build our product. Um, I think that what we are doing in Affogata is taking all of the voice of customers about your brand and your product. We're also taking about all the voice of customers from your competitors and the market in general. We also take data from your ticketing system and Zendesk and support, etc. And we get an holistic view in real time about what your customer are passionate about, what they like, what they dislike, and see it also over time as a benchmark. Now, this is very unique because up to this point, there are a lot of tools that are siloed. Either take data from this data source or that data source, or provide it to this department in the company, etc. Affogata is basically a new kind of a category company. We call it consumer intelligence. And what we do is take all of the data that is totally unstructured from the web and try to structure it in a way that tells a story. We can tell that your recent editor launch is not as good as the previous one. We can say that the recent game that you launch is less engaging because of this and that. We can say what are the top three things that customers hate about you and love about you. We can also say the same about your competitor. So we give you as an organization the tools and the abilities to really be proactive to the market and to really become what all of the companies talk about, customer obsession or being customer obsessed. And that's a big problem because at the end of the day, if you look up the entire chatter in the open web and in your communication system, there's a lot of data. Now, there's a research of Gartner that says 97% of data is really unused in organization. A lot of it to do with the ability to distill a narrative, a clear narrative from all of the data and understand how can you improve your product. Now, we live in a world that is a product-led growth, and products needs to sell themselves. So when we talk about product, we actually talk about the entire organization. Our marketing addresses the product, our sales address the product, our customer success address the product, our the product team address the product, etc. And the entire organization needs to be connected in real time to voice of customers. And we have a ton of use cases and example. Be happy to share.
No, that is exactly what I want you to share. I love this idea, and I'm already gonna foreshadow a question for later on. We're gonna talk about why this customer obsession, which existed throughout time, but now is becoming applicable in the world of data that even perhaps 5 or 10 years ago it wasn't as applicable. So, but first, I'd love to hear a few specific examples.
Yes, so one of our biggest customers and one that became one of our investors after a year of usage is a 20 plus billion company that wanted to be customer obsessed. They wanted to understand what big customers think about it and be proactive to competitors. They tried different tools. They tried to develop things in-house, but the gap is quite big because you need to build technology in terms of NLP and NI that really can take a lot of chatter and distill it into those are the people that talk about this version, about this product, and about this feature, and the sentiment around it, and what they like and dislike, and see it over time. So it's a real challenge for a lot of companies, and we actually developed that with several design partners that we've been working with in the early days to make sure that we develop this kind of product. And only in the last year since we developed the product and started integrating with customer, it really became a game changer to the customers that we work with. We work with some of the leading, two of the leading games in the world. We work with one of the leading website development in the world, also two of the major fintech companies in the world, etc. So we work with companies that everyone knows are customer obsessed, right? Companies like Wix and eToro and Lemonade and MyHeritage and Playtika and Plarium and King Games, etc. Acorn in the fintech industry. So we work with a lot of leading brands that are customer obsessed and looking for ways to be proactive. And we see it all over the place. We can see it from communities being crazy about a specific feature and doing a boycott. We just seen, for example, that the recent Adobe version of Photoshop got banned by the community because people wanted the button of Save with to be in the same place and not in a different place, right? And it became a lot of people stopped using it. We see a lot of cases where someone in an organization says something and it backfires. We see a lot of cases the company changes pricing, for example, and the company need to understand, is it good, is it bad, is it working in all of the places, does it make sense to competitors, etc. So basically, we built a platform that helped brands to be proactive in real time and really obsessed with their community and their customer, and that's a challenge, a huge challenge.
And so why now? So, this is, even if you would have told me this idea 5 years ago, I'd have been like, of course, it makes perfect sense. But why is now the best time to do this?
Because I think there are several aspects to it. First of all, there are more and more alternatives, right? It's relatively easy to develop products and companies, and the consumer has a lot of options. So, and it's also the onboarding. Everything is all of the product are self-served. You can easily switch from one product to another. So the competition is also extremely high. Also, nowadays there are much more places for communities to talk. For example, in the gaming industry, you have Discord, you have forums, you have Twitch, etc. In the fintech industry, you have Reddit and other places. Traditional places like traditional social. So there are a lot of places that chatter is being said, and it's much more relevant now to gather all of this data into one place. Now, another thing that dramatically involved is also the ability to extract insights from noise. Because, for example, take a company like Lemonade or Monday just did an IPO. This is a generic word. If you want to understand what people think about the product Monday versus Monday the day, you need a lot of technology to understand how to distill this data. So I think that's also something that's being changed. And I think another thing is being changed is that most, if not all, of the sales journey is totally online. People search for product they want to understand how to use. They share their use case and get feedback to the community, which product they should use, etc. So traditional marketing is less effective in terms of changing the narrative of how people perceive your product, right? Is your product for professionals or for for easy onboarding, easy product for this kind of a department or that department, etc. And people tell you what you're all about. And I think that's part of the things that happen. I can tell that us as Affogata, we were just 3 people, something like a year and a half ago. And now we are 30 people. And that just saw the growth, not only in companies, but also in startups and a lot of ecosystems. There's a lot of potential, and things are moving much, much faster than it did 5 or 10 years ago in all aspects. So I think that also plays a big part in why things are moving fast. Generally speaking, everything is moving fast. Also, IPOs are moving fast, and building products is moving fast. So it's a very exciting time to be in, and especially for people who are passionate about building great products.
That's amazing. And so you're building a startup here in the Startup Nation, or the Scale Up Nation, the Unicorn Nation, and you're competing against everybody, and talent is scarce. And how does a small startup grow within a year and a half from 3 to 30, hopefully with really the right talent, and compete with everybody else that is sitting even across the street from you?
Yeah, so that's an amazing question. I think that Israel has been very blessed with big giants of companies that have been working here, for example, Apple, Google, etc. On one end, on the other end, it really takes a lot of the talent, and it's a real challenge. I think that, as you said, we grew for 3 to 30 in the past year and a half, and our plan till the end of the year is to grow to 60 people, to double the amount of people in Israel and also in San Francisco. We have another office. I think that what makes a change is the ability of people to make an impact. I think the culture is crucial for companies that are growing. We have an amazing balance between people that has a lot of experience and seen a lot of things versus people that are relatively junior and new to the ecosystem and want to prove themselves. And I think that together with this fusion, we're able to take people that are 40, 50 years old versus people that are 20, 25 years old, and connect that into a working ecosystem and a working agile place that everyone has an impact. And as the company grows, there's a lot of places that could suck talent. for example, someone could do this product and that product, and we are very open in terms of giving people the ability to lead things. One of the things that we're very proud of is that a lot of people within the company grew to different places. For example, people that did the SDR and our salespeople, people that started as QA and our developers, people started as junior developers or now senior developers, etc. Because I think it's crucial for us as a company to grow. And we also just recently moved to a new offices, which is very exciting to us because previously we were in the garage, right? So we had a small garage in Bnei Brak. That wasn't the most attractive place. And now we moved to a new place. We moved to Besser in the 29th floor. We have a nice view and a nice porch, and you can see the sea, and you can see the Yarkon, and you can see a lot of vision. And I think that's also kind of shows the changes that our company did in the past year and a half, right? Now you can go to the office and see the vision. You can see the sky. You can see a lot of Israel in just one image. And I think that inspires people to say, okay, let's work in a startup and let's create something that I'm really feeling like I'm part of and I'm making a change. And the technology is very strong, and I'm working with some of the biggest brands in the world. I'll give you a story. We just recently launched our PR of the investment. And the positioning was Goodbye Focus Group, Hello Affogata, the new consumer intelligence platform. The position was very engaging because we said no need for focus groups or surveys. We bring everything online to you and your customers. And for example, one of the biggest brands in the world contacted us from Japan and said, listen, guys, we're looking for a lean startup that can help us really understand voice of customer. We want to get data from this, and this places. We want to integrate it into our ecosystem, which really want to be customer obsessed, like you say. Let's work together, right? And it was totally unexpected. Luckily, one of the people in the company knows Japanese, so now she became the account manager of that account, and we're working with them. So this is one example of how the world is changing and how a small startup still can make an impact and have great talent with it.
Now, as the CEO and leader, what are some of the things that you're positioning yourself with or thinking about as you're now growing and scaling the startup? Is it primarily around the talent? Is it primarily around the product? How I'm trying to think. How does an early stage entrepreneur with a very fast growing startup? What are you challenged with?
Yes, so we have a saying in the company of GRR, GRRR. So, and it's initial for G is growth. It's crucial to have growth, ongoing growth in the company, in the organization, with the people, etc. The other R is recruitment. Recruitment is crucial in our phase. We need to find the right people that make. We have a saying in the company that happy people create happy products that makes the world a better place. So we're looking for people that would. One of the questions actually in the interviews is, what would make you happy as a potential employee in Affogata or as a potential partner in our journey? So the second thing is recruitment. The third thing is retention. We have a lot of impact with amazing brands, and we need to keep on pushing that impact. Keep on working with use cases, assist the brands that we work with on several aspects. For example, we have a lot of examples of things that backfire for organization. A PR went wrong, some community leader that is sharing negative chatter about them, some release of a feature that went terribly, etc. All the time there are suddenly negative picks, and we are there with the companies to help them understand how to manage this crisis, how the step that they are doing is making an impact, etc. So retention is another thing. And I think the last R is about recruitment and round. Eventually, as a startup, we need to keep on finding great partners. For example, our next step is to expand to the US. So now we are engaging with several partners who have also leadership and connection in the state, so we can also grow to these places. So I think that's part of the ecosystem, what we do as a company. What makes me feel super excited about what we do is the people that we work with, the partners that are part of our journey, the team, and also the impact that you are making to the amazing brands. For example, gaming industry is something that we are extremely strong on. We didn't know at all a year and a half that we would even provide value for gaming companies. We thought it'd be more for traditional online brands. And we understood that gaming is crucial, and there are a lot of gaps in gaming and a lot of places. So gaming, fintech is also something that is amazing for us that we're working with. Also, insurance tech is something that we're very strong on. So basically, a lot of places that we can show how we can see how we can bring value and make an impact to amazing brands.
Sharel, I love what you're doing at Affogata. I won't repeat what I said right before we started recording, but I really am inspired by the work that you're doing. And I think that it's the right time, the right market. It sounds like an incredible team, and so I'm really excited to continue and be a champion for another successful startup in the startup nation. So thank you for these 20 minutes.
We're very excited. Yeah.
Thank you. I do have 3 questions for you, though. Not about Affogata and not about startups, but about yourself. Take me back to your childhood. What fascinated you as a kid? What was maybe your favorite subject in school or a passion hobby of yours?
Yeah, 100%. So when I grew up when there were no mobile phones and there were less TV, right? There was only one channel in Israel. So I grew up right next to the sea in Herzliya. So my biggest passion was the sea, and specifically diving, free diving. I used to go with my uncle and with my brothers to the sea and did a lot of diving. When you're underwater and you feel there is no gravity and there is no noise, and it's just almost like meditation. So I think that's one of my biggest passion, the things that I like, and I keep on doing it even now to these days. Free diving, I think it's amazing and definitely a childhood passion that grew with me.
And somebody that inspires you along the way, along your journey, professionally, personally.
Wow. So it says you need a village, right? You need a village to create a great company, the village to create a great ecosystem. As I said, I was entrepreneur for about the last 10 years. The previous startups were bootstrapped without funding. So it's a very, very kind of different challenge. And you cannot bootstrap a company without the help of amazing entrepreneurs. Some of them became our investors. And I'm very privileged to have those. For example, the CEO of Wix, Avishai, the CEO of Fiverr, Dr. Gior Aaron, who is one of the founding fathers of the Israeli high tech. A lot of amazing entrepreneurs and CEOs that guided us along the way and helped us build Affogata and create an ecosystem. And we're very privileged and wouldn't be here without them. In general, I must say there's a lot of active ecosystem of great entrepreneurs and CEOs who help others build great companies. We can see now, for example, Monday, who just did an IPO, they grew at Wix. And I think that a major part of what they did was the ecosystem there. And so we see a lot of support and a lot of growing companies within the ecosystem from existing ecosystem. And I think that's very inspiring.
Very, very cool. And what are 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
Wow. So I think that I'm very passionate about people. So I think that's the kind of thing that I like to do. And also a lot of what Affogata does is about connecting people to a story, connecting people to a movement. And I'm very passionate about people and also about entrepreneurship, about making products, about being innovative. Definitely the things that describe me a lot.
Wonderful. Sharel, toda raba raba. Thank you very, very much. This was wonderful. Best of luck with Affogata, and I can't wait to share this with the world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.